Long before time had a name, the first Spinjitzu Masters.
New LEGO friends, welcome to beautiful Heart Lake City.
New from LEGO Chamber, you can spin.
This has been the best year ever, he says. If I could sing and dance, I should be singing and dancing. That's Jürgen Vig Knudstorp, CEO of the LEGO Group in early 2016. He was talking about the year that had just wrapped up. So is that really it? Is the question settled? Ask 10 LEGO fans which year in the 2010s was LEGO's high point, and you'll hear 10 different answers. Some will pick the year Ninjago appeared. Others will say it was the year of the movie. Someone might even mention that theme with warring animal tribes, which most people barely remember now. Almost nobody points to the year the CEO himself called the best, right there on the record. That's odd. And odd is usually where things start to get interesting. But before you can decide what prime even means for LEGO, you have to know what the company was climbing out of. Back in 1998, LEGO posted its first ever loss. By 2003, sales had dropped by more than a quarter in just a year. The company had chased after video games, clothes, theme parks, almost anything except the bricks, and nearly went under because of it. People who were there later said LEGO was losing close to $1 million a day. Then, in 2004, Jürgen Vig Knudstorp, who used to work at McKinsey, took charge. His solution was almost stubborn in its simplicity. Stop chasing distractions and focus on the brick. It worked. By 2010, LEGO had topped $1 billion in US sales for the first time. The company that had almost vanished was quietly building towards something bigger, something most people walking down the toy aisle wouldn't have guessed. No one realized it yet, but the real ascent was just beginning. LEGO needed a new flagship. What they came up with was a theme about ninjas, elemental powers, and little plastic tops you'd spin against your friends' Spinjitzu. It was only supposed to last 3 years. Ninjago turned into the biggest product launch LEGO had ever seen. Sales that year hit nearly $3.5 billion. A decade later, that 3-year experiment was still going strong, but 2011 had something else buried in it. Earlier that year, LEGO had rolled out an ambitious online game called LEGO Universe, a big bet on digital play. By November, they quietly shut it down. It never got close to what they'd hoped for. Same year, one theme becomes a juggernaut, another fades away, barely mentioned anymore. That mix, a huge win and a quiet flop, both in the same year, is going to keep coming up as the story goes on. In January 2012, LEGO released a series designed specifically for girls, pastel colors, a beauty salon, a new mini doll figurine, softer in appearance instead of the usual minifigure. They called it LEGO Friends. The reaction was instant. Many considered this a step backwards. In a few weeks, a petition against the series has gathered tens of thousands of signatures. They joked in columns and blogs, do girls really need different colors of cubes to feel welcome? And then the sales figures appeared. LEGO Friends didn't just fulfill the plan, it doubled it in the first year. During the same time, the company's half-year profit grew by 35%, and LEGO bluntly said that Friends played a significant role in this. Almost no one defended the line in the press. Everyone bought it in the shops. This gap is worth remembering. It will still be useful. By 2013, LEGO decided that they now knew the recipe for success. You take a theme, make an animated series for it, and sell it all together. This is how the Legends of Chima series appeared. Lion Kings, crocodile armies, and the magical substance Chi, which tribes are fighting over. There was an animated series, a mobile game, even a whole section in the LEGO park. In the first 6 months of the year alone, the company's total revenue grew by 13%, and Chima was cited as one of the main drivers. At first, it seemed like it was the new Ninjago. It didn't work out. By 2015, Chima had disappeared from the shelves. 3 years, and that's it. There is still a small but active community on the internet that is asking LEGO to bring the series back. The launch was loud, the sales were great, but the series didn't last long. LEGO has seen from its own experience that a great startup quarter and a successful decade are two different things. No one was ready for the next step, so LEGO decided to make a movie. February 2014. The company is releasing its first full-length feature film, Warner Brothers Studio. At first, I didn't even take external financing because there was little confidence in the project. The main character is an ordinary builder Emmett, who is accidentally mistaken for the savior of the LEGO universe. In the first 3 days, the film grossed more than $69 million, the second highest result in February in history, second only to The Passion of the Christ in 2004. Collections have exceeded 470 million worldwide. The critics were delighted. Everyone heard the song from the movie, and it was played everywhere in the summer. For many, if you ask when LEGO had its peak, that year comes back to mind. Not a graph, but a figure and a song that stuck in my head. But here's what's interesting. The company's sales grew by 13% that year, which wasn't bad, but it wasn't a record. It turns out that the emotional peak and the financial peak do not always coincide. Now back to the starting point. Star Wars. The Force Awakens is coming out at the end of the year, and the LEGO Star Wars series, already one of the most successful, is getting a new surge of interest. Amid the success of the LEGO movie, both new and old fans are coming to the stores. According to the company's estimates, LEGO products now reach about 100 million children worldwide. Revenue jumps by about 25%, profit by almost a third. This is the biggest jump in a decade. At this moment, Knudstorp goes out out to the cameras. The best year ever. If you look at what's important to the company itself, the growth rate, the excitement, the atmosphere, 2015 really stands out. The tables and sensations match for the first time. It was clear to everyone inside the company. That was the year. It doesn't happen very often, and soon the situation will change again. 2016 was supposed to be a continuation of success. In absolute terms, it even surpassed the previous one. A record revenue for 85 years of LEGO history. We have launched more new products than ever before. A new LEGO house has opened in Billund. A new factory was being built in China. On paper, this is the financial peak of the decade, not 2015 but 2016. But the growth rate is already different. Instead of another 25% jump, revenue increased by a little more than 5. In the USA, one of the key markets, sales remained at the same level, despite additional investments in advertising. And the new flagship Nexonite series, with applications and an animated series, did not become the same event for children as Ninjago once was, according to the relevant press. In December, almost without warning, Knudstorp, the same man who led the company out of the crisis and was happy on camera a year ago, resigned as CEO, the largest income in history, and the person who led to this is already leaving the company. His replacement, Balipada, a veteran at LEGO, stepped in on January 1st, 2017. 9 months later, he was out. No other CEO in the company's history lasted so little. That year didn't just slow the company down, it snapped a 13-year winning streak. Revenue dropped by 8%. Operating profit fell 17%. For the first time since 2004, the year LEGO nearly went bankrupt, both sales and profits sank together. Officially, the reason sounded almost boring. LEGO had simply made too many bricks. Warehouses across Europe and North America overflowed with unsold sets. The company spent months slashing prices just to make room for what was coming next. Around 1,400 jobs disappeared, about 8% of the global staff. Think about that for a second. 1 year. That's all it took to go from the best year ever and the highest revenue in 85 years to the worst results in more than a decade, and a CEO who didn't even last 12 months. Whatever you want to call LEGO's true prime, the company built its own collapse right into the period everyone remembers as its golden age. So, which year actually deserves the title? Depends on what you're measuring. If you care about sheer size, 2016 stands out, the highest revenue LEGO ever reported. If it's about growth and the mood inside the company, then 2015, the year even the CEO couldn't hide his excitement. If you're going by what's stuck in people's minds, it's probably 2014. Emmett, Bricksburg, and that song Everywhere. These years didn't happen in a vacuum. Ninjago kept selling. Friends, despite controversy, became a hit. Chima flared up and faded. The movie reached far beyond the usual audience. The Force Awakens sent sales surging. All of this packed into a tight window from 2014 to 2016. That's the real story. LEGO's prime wasn't just 1 year. It was this brief stretch when culture, money, and company energy all clicked, right before that same momentum tipped into overproduction and layoffs. And then there's Friends, ignored by most critics, loved by shoppers. That gap between what people said and what they actually bought shows up here too. Not everyone agrees this was LEGO's high point. Plenty of longtime adult fans look at those same years and see something different. The moment when tie-in cartoons, apps, and licensed brands started to crowd out the quieter, more creative LEGO they remembered. The commercial peak and the creative golden age aren't always the same, depending on who you ask. But if you have to pick 1 year to put on a plaque, 2015 makes the strongest case. Not the biggest revenue, but the moment when growth, excitement, and leadership all lined up. That only happened once in the whole decade. There's something no chart or report will ever capture. Somewhere in 2015, a kid circled sets in a catalog, weeks before Christmas, not knowing that a boardroom in Denmark was tracking that same excitement as a 25% jump on a spreadsheet. That kid didn't experience the best year ever as a number. For them, it was a Saturday morning, a movie on repeat, a set finally unboxed. That's what a peak year really feels like. The company counts it in kroner. We remember it in flashes, a theme song, a toy aisle, a stop-motion video someone's cousin showed them on a phone. On paper, the high point fell apart as quickly as it came. Nobody in that toy aisle in 2015 saw it coming. For a few years, it just felt like LEGO could do no wrong. Maybe that's what the real prime year is. Not the one with the biggest number, but the one we didn't realize was special until it was already over.